I'll never forget the sound of her laughter. It wasn't the sweet, lilting giggle I used to love, the one that made my heart skip a beat when we were younger. Now, this was different, sharp and careless, ringing out as she walked through the front door after her business trip. "Hey, babe," Sarah said, her voice light and breezy, as if she'd been away at a conference instead of God knows where. She kicked off her heels and tossed her bag onto the chair by the door, her laughter still echoing in the air. But then she saw it, the framed photo on the dining room table. Her laughter cut off like someone had flipped a switch. Her smile faltered, and the color drained from her face. For a moment, she just stood there frozen, staring at the picture. It was a photo of her and me on our wedding day. Her in that gorgeous lace dress. Me in my crisp navy suit. Both of us grinning like we had just won the lottery. Except I'd made a little addition to the photo. Overlaid across the glass in bold red letters were the words, "I know." She turned to me, her eyes wide and panicked. "What is this, Jack?" she asked. I leaned against the kitchen counter, arms crossed. "Why don't you tell me, Sarah?" Her lips parted, but no sound came out. I could see her mind racing, trying to figure out what I knew, how much I knew, and how I'd found out. "Jack, I don't know what you're talking about." Her voice quivered, the confident facade cracking. I laughed, a bitter sound that felt foreign even to me. "Don't insult my intelligence. You've been lying to me for months. The business trips, the late nights at the office, the sudden interest in going to the gym." I gestured to the photo. "And then there's this." I picked up my phone and swiped through a series of pictures, each one more damning than the last. Sarah and her business partner, Mark, holding hands at a beachfront resort, kissing under a cabana, laughing together over drinks at a bar. Her face crumpled. "Jack, I can explain." "Explain?" I snapped. "Explain what?" "That you've been sneaking around with Mark while I've been here working late to pay for your fancy spa days and yoga retreats." My voice rose with each word until I was practically shouting. "You lied to me, Sarah, over and over again. Do you even feel guilty? Or are you just sorry you got caught?" She took a step toward me, her hands outstretched like she thought she could smooth this over with a hug. "Jack, please let me explain. It's not what it looks like." I held up a hand, stopping her in her tracks. "Don't. Just don't. I've spent the past 2 months gathering every piece of evidence I could find." "Do you want to know why?" Her lips trembled. She didn't answer. "Because I wanted to be absolutely sure. I wanted to know that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't imagining things. And now that I'm sure, I've made some decisions." Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt no sympathy. Not anymore. Not after everything she'd done. "First," I said, my voice calm and measured, "I've already filed for divorce. The papers are in my lawyer's hands. You'll be getting them tomorrow. And before you even think about contesting, I'd suggest you look at the prenup you signed." Her face fell further. The prenup. It was ironclad, designed to protect my family's business in case anything went wrong. She'd leave with what she brought into the marriage. Nothing more. "Jack, you don't have to do this," she whispered, her voice barely audible. I ignored her. "Second, I've already informed Mark's wife." Oh, that hit her like a slap to the face. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. "Oh, don't worry," I said with a bitter smile. She was very understanding. She even sent me some photos of her own. "Did you really think you were the only one sneaking around?" Her tears spilled over, but I didn't stop. "Oh, and lastly," I said, pulling out a folder from the drawer, "I've compiled all of this." I tossed the folder onto the table. Every text, every photo, every receipt. "If you try to fight me on this divorce, this will go straight to HR at your company. Let's see how well they handle 2 of their senior managers having an affair on company time and dime." She sank into a chair, her head in her hands. "Jack, please. I made a mistake. I love you." I laughed again, the sound hollow. "Love? Is that what you call this?" "No, Sarah, you don't love me. You love the comfort, the security, but you didn't respect me enough to be honest. You threw it all away. For what? A cheap thrill." She sobbed into her hands, but I felt nothing. Not malice, not anger, not sadness, not pity. Just a strange sense of relief, like a weight I didn't even know I was carrying had been lifted. "I'll be staying at a hotel for the next few days," I said, grabbing my keys. "I've already arranged for movers to come and pack your things. By the end of the week, I want you out of this house." She looked up at me, her tear-streaked face a mask of desperation. "Jack, please don't do this. We can work through this. We can go to counseling." I shook my head. "Some things can't be fixed, Sarah. This is one of them." I walked to the door, pausing with my hand on the knob. "Oh, and one more thing. That new purse you bought on your business trip? I canceled the credit card. Enjoy explaining that to the store." I left without another word, the sound of her sobs following me out the door. As I drove away, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Pain, betrayal, anger. But beneath it all, a sense of freedom. I'd spent years building a life with someone who didn't value me, and now I had the chance to start over. To find someone who would. The next morning, I woke up in the hotel to a text from Mark's wife. "Thank you for telling me. I'm leaving him too. We deserve better." She was right. We did. And as I looked out the window at the rising sun, I realized something. The end of my marriage wasn't the end of my life. It was the beginning of something new, something better. And for the first time in months, I felt hope.